Would you believe me if I told you that the history of Women's Cricket World Cup is older than Men's World Cup? Or that India hosted a Cricket World Cup almost a decade before the Reliance World Cup of 1987? It is in fact true. The first ever Women's World Cup happened in 1973, 2 years before first ever Men's World Cup. And India hosted a Women's Cricket World Cup in 1978, almost a decade before hosting the Men's World Cup. Let's dive deep into the history of Women's World Cup and let's see what gems we can unearth from this often overlooked and forgotten history. Before 2005, women's cricket was run by an independent body called the International Women's Cricket Council. And as one would expect, this body faced difficulties in getting funding and struggled to elevate women's cricket to a level that we see it today. Although international women's cricket began 57 years after the beginning of men's cricket, a woman did play an important role in changing a very important aspect of the game, underarm bowling. When cricket originated, all bowlers delivered the ball underarm, where the bowler's hand had to be below waist height. And then a story goes that Christine Willis, who used to play cricket with her brother John Willis in their backyard, found it rather cumbersome to deliver the ball underarm. It so happened that due to her wide and huge skirt, she would find it difficult to deliver the ball underarm as the skirt would often obstruct the free movement of her hand. To overcome the obstruction, she devised a technique to deliver the ball round arm, a technique where the hand is between waist height and shoulder height. Her brother John was impressed with the technique and started practicing his round arm bowling. In 1822, John used this round arm technique for the first time in a professional match but was immediately no balled by the umpire. Eventually, rules were changed and now we have arrived at the overarm technique which is practiced today. Coming back to the Women's Cricket World Cup, the first ever World Cup began on 28 June 1973 in England. The World Cup was the brainchild of a businessman called Sir Jack Hayward, who contributed £40,000 towards its costs. A total of 7 teams participated in the tournament, and the teams included England, Australia, New Zealand, Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, an international 11 which consisted of women players who couldn't make it to any of the teams, and finally a young under 25 women's team of England apart from the senior team. Initially, 5 South African players were said to be a part of the international 11 team but withdrew after Trinidad and Tobago as well as Jamaica threatened to withdraw if South African women participated. This World Cup had a round robin format with each team playing a match against all other teams. Whichever team emerges on top after playing all the 6 matches would be declared the winner. In the end, England women's team emerged victorious with 20 points from 6 matches, while Australia finished second with 17 points from 6 matches. The second edition of the tournament happened in India in 1978 between 1st and 13th of January. Only 4 teams played in this World Cup, with India also qualifying on grounds of being the host team, and England, Australia and New Zealand, which were the only 3 test playing teams at the time, completing the quartet. Originally, Netherlands and West Indies were also set to play in the World Cup but later withdrew due to financial issues. Australia emerged victorious in the tournament, winning all 3 matches, whereas India was unable to open their account. In the next edition, which happened in 1982 in New Zealand, a final was played for the first time in the tournament, as Australia beat England by 3 wickets to lift their second World Cup trophy. The following World Cups kept happening, although at irregular intervals, and were often plagued by lack of funds. Many times, teams like Netherlands or West Indies that were invited to take part in the World Cup would decline the invite at the last moment as they did not have sufficient funds to take part in the tournament. Sometimes the World Cup events would have 6-year gaps, like the 1988 edition was held after a gap of 6 years after the 1982 edition. However, all that changed in 2005 when the Women's Cricket Council was merged into the ICC and the funding issues faced by women's cricket started to disappear. All the World Cups have happened at regular 4-year intervals since 2005. And just like men's cricket, Australia is the most successful team when it comes to winning World Cups. Out of the 12 World Cups so far, Australia has won the event a record 7 times, followed by England who have won it 4 times. Apart from Australia and England, New Zealand is the only other team which has managed to win the tournament once. India has played in the final twice, while West Indies has played in the final once without managing to win the final. The upcoming edition, which will start from the 30th of September 2025, will be hosted jointly by India and Sri Lanka. And Australia once again would be the firm favourites to lift the trophy for a recorded time, with India having an outside chance given their home conditions and recent performances, especially against England, that would give them confidence. Let us know in comments which team do you think is most likely to lift the trophy.